Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. So I dragged the KLT200 on up to the garage here to start looking it over. And I believe it's a 200 because that's what it says here. But if you pull off the seat, and drop it on the floor, it says KHL2LT250A. So anyway, so I pulled that off. That's what the air cleaner looks like. It's a good thing that it does have an air cleaner. It's quasi hooked up enough, hopefully, to keep mice out of the engine. I put air in the tires to get it here, and I don't know, it hasn't been that long. I don't know. I don't think the back tires are holding air all that well. Now what I want to do with it is I want to determine if the engine is seized or not. So I'm going to do that by put it all the way in here. I'm going to rock it into gear, and I'm going to see if it rolls, basically. So we'll give that a shot, see if it gives me some compression or not. Or maybe I could jack it up and turn a tire. Well, I'll let you know when I figure it out. Okay, tubers, what I did is I jacked it up and I used the shifter to rock it into 5th gear. The spark plug is still in it, and if you listen closely, and you can tell that I'm kind of fighting it when I'm turning it over. It does seem to have compression. That's a good sign. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a battery into it and try to turn it over and see what happens. Maybe give it a little shot of or actually what I should do first is do a compression test on it, and then after that we'll check to see if it sparks and everything else. Stay tuned. I put a battery to it just to see what it'll do, and hopefully. So we got Headlight. We don't have neutral light, right? And we don't seem to have ignition, and we don't seem to have tail light. So let me pull the plug out and see if we can't turn this over a little bit. Hey tubers, so we pulled the spark plug out, and this is what it looks like. Actually looks pretty good. So that's a good sign. So that's the first thing we did. By the way, to get it out, it was kind of crunchy, so to speak, so I turned it out a little bit. Then I hit it with a PB Blaster back in, turned it out a little more, PB Blaster back in. Could save the threads on your spark plug hole, right? You don't want to tear up the threads on the head, taking the spark plug out and then being all kinds of messed up. So here's my compression tester, and we know this gauge is a little bit weird, but and my jump pack's a little weak. So it appears as if we have more than, even with this compression tester, which isn't the most accurate, It seems that I have more than enough compression to test. Take note, I took the slide out of the carburetor to make sure it has plenty of air intake. Yeah, next is testing out if this thing has spark, and I think that's going to take 2 battery packs. I don't know if this is a points machine or a CDI machine. So if it's a points machine, you need the electrical system hooked up to spark, and then obviously you have to turn the starter over. If it's a CDI machine, it might be using the magneto to get the power to spark. So I'm gonna have to get my other jumper pack on it and use them both. Boy, what a difference a jump pack will make. Well, let's see if it sparks. So 1 battery pack on. Make sure the switch is on. So it seems to spark. I'm going to turn off the battery pack that powers the CDI, and it doesn't seem to spark. So I don't know if this thing has a 12 volt CDI on it or points, but it seems to want power to spark. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spark plug back in and dribble some gas in and see if it won't do something, just for a laugh. The carburetor needs to come off and get rebuilt before we could attempt to start it, but let's see if it at least puffs or does something. So what I want to do is I want to get some gas into the carburetor. You see that brass thing down there? That leads directly to the bowl. And what I'm hoping to do is put this hose on there and trickle some gas directly in the bowl. Then we'll see if it'll start. Turns out the throttle cable was sticking, so hit it with the old PB blaster. It's loosened up. Even though this is only a test fire and there's only a little bit of gas in there, I just assume the throttle fully open and closed properly. Okay, tubers, let's see if we can't get this thing to fire up. Okay, ignition on. Well, I guess it looks like the next step for this thing is a carb rebuild. And I think I got to do something with the clutch cable too. Where's the clutch? Clutch is on this side. Huh. Looks like it's got to be completely reattached. They took the screw out for some reason. The bolt out. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Please remember, keep your feet down, your heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.